The views shared on this show are my own and not those of Fam Radio. I am not a pastor or trying to tell you how to live your life. I'm just sharing my journey. Take what resonates, leave the rest, and let's grow together.
Hey, yo, yo, yo. This is Speaking to the Mic, and I'm locked in with London Elixir on the London Elixir Show.
Hey, what's up, family? This is Pastor Luke, New Vision Christian Church, and you're tuned in now to the London Elixir Show.
What's going on, y'all? It's the kid J Nolan here. You're now tuned into the London Elixir Show. Make sure you tune in, keep it locked, and run it back after it's over, too.
From Ohio to Atlanta, mixing music and ministry, this is the London Elixir Show on Fam Radio.
What's up, cousins, and welcome back to another episode of the London Elixir Show, where we talk music, business, and most importantly, faith. Whether you're out here grinding in the studio, pitching for your next placement, building your brand, or just trying to stay encouraged while pursuing your purpose, this is the space for you. I'm your host, London Elixir, music producer, DJ, sync queen, and faith-driven entrepreneur, here to help you level up in music, business, and most importantly, purpose. As always, I have to give a huge shout out to Fam Radio for allowing us to be here. And if you're an artist looking to get your music played, or if you have a topic you want us to discuss, or if you're a brand looking to sponsor an episode, hit us up at londonelixir.com/show. Today's episode is extra special because I'm joined by someone who is not just killing it in the sync world, but also someone I've had the pleasure of working with on multiple levels over the years. From our placements on HBO Max, CBS, Bravo TV, and Prime Video to him being featured in both of my Sink or Swim films, this brother has been around since before I even started getting placements, y'all. I'm talking about none other than J Nolan, a powerful voice in hip-hop, creator of Inside the Industry, and the author of the Pen Game Portfolio. If you're trying to learn how to get your music into TV, film, and ads without signing your life away, he's got real tools and firsthand experience to share. But more than just the accolades, J Nolan is someone who is deeply rooted in his purpose, clear on his faith, and committed to helping others win in this industry. Today, we're going to talk about what it means to be multifaceted in this game while staying true to your core, how to handle negativity and trolls on social media without losing your peace, and what it really looks like to walk this music journey with faith and strategy. Cousins, please help me welcome to the show the one and only J Nolan.
Hey, J Nolan here. That was an amazing intro, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you. And it's so good to have you here. Thank you for joining me. I already know the conversation is going to be fire. Like, I'm ready to get straight into it. But before we do, I have to start off every episode. The listeners already know with this segment I call Faith Works. Now, if you're new to the show, here's what this is all about. Faith Works is a moment where we carve out in every episode to center ourselves, to pause the hustle, the goals, the grind, and talk about how our faith is showing up in our daily lives. Because as music entrepreneurs, we're constantly in motion. We're creating, we're pitching, we're performing, we're promoting, and that can start to feel heavy if we're not grounded in something deeper. So, this segment is really a reminder that faith isn't just something we pull out when things get hard. It's something that works with us every single day, if we let it. And this whole segment is built on James chapter 2, verse 26, which reminds us, for as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. So, Jay, I have to ask you, do you have a daily faith practice like prayer, journaling, devotionals, or even just quiet time that helps you stay focused and rooted, especially in this fast-moving industry?
I would say prayer is definitely something that is important to me. Sometimes I may be moving a lot and forget, but then I just have to in a moment's time, just be like, hold on, let me say a prayer real quick. You know what I'm saying? And it'll be the simplest thing. It may not even necessarily be for myself. It may be just for my family or my son, or just for peace of mind, anything. So I definitely have to take a moment here and there and just be like, wait a second, let me let me talk to my guy real quick.
Okay. Yeah, I feel that. Like, especially with everything that could be coming at you. Sometimes
Yep.
I have to stop and just be like, God, at the end of the day, I know you're in control over everything. So, like, because I'm one of those, like, it's hard for me to make decisions sometimes, like, especially when there are multiple options, like, which way should I go?
Yep.
As entrepreneurs, we have so many options for ways to spend our time, and we never know, like, what should I put more time into? Or, God, what is, like, in this season, what should I be focused on?
Right,
you know
right.
what I'm saying? So, prayer is helpful for me, too. I feel you
Yep.
on that. So before we move on, y'all, we have to end this segment with a quick faith challenge, which is just a small action step that our listeners can try this week to grow their own faith walk. So here's the challenge. Take 10 intentional minutes each day this week to check in with God, not to ask for anything, but just to listen. Whether that's sitting in silence, journaling, reading scripture, or, walking without distractions. Make space to hear from him. And you'll be surprised how clear your vision gets when you give God room to speak. The scripture that accompanies this week's faith challenge is John 15:4, and it says, "Remain in me as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me." So let's be intentional about remaining in the Lord because he is our vine. All right, y'all, that's going to wrap up today's Faith Work segment, and we're going to take a quick music break. When we come back, we are diving deeper into the story of J Nolan, so stay locked right here on the London Elixir Show. Welcome back to the London Elixir Show. I'm your host, London Elixir, and we are in studio with J Nolan himself. For the people just now tuning in, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, first, it starts from being an artist, songwriter. That's pretty much like the core of it, where everything started. And I've been doing that since I was literally a child. You know what I'm saying? Like probably 8, 9 years old was the first time I put pen to paper to like make a rap. You know what I mean? And from that time period forward, it's just been like a labor of love. I just been like obsessed with the craft of it. And once I got out of like high school, because like during that time period in high school was like where I started like first making mixtapes and like taking my music to school, and like my teachers knew that about me. Like I was in the yearbook for this stuff. I got all types of votes and whatnot. So that was like the early inkling of, okay, I might have something with this, right? So coming out of school, I was like, all right, now my community kind of knows about me, but how do I go beyond this? So that's where like the internet came into play, and like distributing my music on like gonna age myself a little bit on MySpace. You know what I'm saying? Like the early MySpace, early Facebook days, like really just trying to get in where I could fit in, because I knew like, okay, I can get out here in Atlanta, but I knew that my style was not necessarily catered to Atlanta rap. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, how do I get to people in other places that have a more diverse palette than just the people around? So that the internet thing really helped, you know what I'm saying? And from there, it just kind of naturally progressed. So as I was putting out little projects here and there, doing stuff on iTunes, and like people were buying those projects and things of that nature, but this guy by the name of Joseph Parker, I always give him credit because he reached out to me in a DM on Twitter and was like, "Hey man, you're an excellent writer, rapper. I love what you're doing, but would you be interested in working with this producer that I have?" And he told me who he was, and his name is Soul Plus Mine. Still work with him from time to time. And he was doing a lot of stuff in the sync game. So
and so like around what time, what year was
this? Is like 2012, like toward the end of 2012.
Okay.
So I got with him and I laid down a few tracks. I didn't really have any like any real guidelines of like how to write for sync or anything like that. They didn't even tell me at the time. It took for me to do like a batch of songs for them to like start giving me notes like, hey, you should refrain from like saying people's names or these brands and all these different things. So from there, I think our first placement came within a few months. And the first placement that I ever got was from UFC, Road to the Octagon. And that was like the first taste of like, okay, I got my song on TV and I got to actually see it. It was.
Did you get paid for it?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because some people have like these early sync experiences and they like somebody got over on them. So
no, that happened later.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, let's keep going in the story.
But the first time was actually a good experience. So like we had it played, and it was really like just an eye-opening experience for me, because you know, especially with the circumstance of it being UFC, you had this fighter who's like talking about all their reasons as to why the fight is important, and they got my song as the backdrop. Like his brother had passed, and it was like a really big deal for him to try to win this match. And I was like, okay, so now my song is kind of like a part of his story.
Yeah.
And that was like a big thing for me at the time, because I was really trying to find purpose with music anyway. Like I like doing it. I know what I have in my mind of what I'm supposed to do with it, but how do I actually translate that into results and something that's sustainable? So from that point, you know, I did have to inquire about where the money was at.
Okay.
Right, because it wasn't an upfront payment. There was a sync fee, but it was like, it took a little minute for us to get it, you know, with the net 30, 60, 90 and all that stuff. But I didn't know what that stuff was.
Right.
I wasn't even coming from a business background. I was just coming from like a regular dude. Yeah. You know, so at that time I'm like, okay, where the money at, bruh? And he's like, yo, just chill. It's coming. I'm not trying to get over on you.
Right.
And then so we split like $1,000 down the middle, something like that. And then when the royalties started coming in from the show is like when it really clicked. Because it was a pay-per-view match. But then after the pay-per-view, you know, it started going through the pipeline of all these different channels. So I'm like, okay, I got like 500 up front, but then I saw like another 500 come in, and then I got that for about 6 quarters.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, this hasn't gone down yet.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I need to do more of this.
Okay. That's amazing. And then like, so seeing that type of income, because you had already been doing music since you were young, like, you know, like you said, putting your music on MySpace and things like that. Like, was that your first time, like once you got that UFC placement, really seeing a good return on your investment financially?
That was the first time, period. Yeah, for sure. Because outside of that, like I said, I was just getting like little iTunes transactions before that. And I was like, okay, I made $100 here, $150 here, $70. You know, that was cool to say like, hey, at least I'm making something. But that was the first experience where it was like,
making a difference.
Okay, yeah.
An impactful amount of money. Yeah, for sure. So what would you say to artists? Because sometimes I hear artists talk about like they don't want to get into sync because they just focused on like staying true to their brand or themselves or their artistry. You know, how would you, but they're not really making money from their music either, you know? Yeah,
I mean, for me, it's like you really not serious at that point. I don't mean to say it like, you know, in a brazen way, but it's like, what would you rather do? Would you rather have income coming in from your music? You're still exercising your creativity. You still get to be yourself. You just have a different form of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not like you got to be a completely different person in order to make music for sync.
Exactly.
They actually want authentic music anyway. It's just like, hey, make edited versions of your songs. I don't think that's like a crazy thing to ask for. Like
a clean version.
Yeah, clean version. Make sure that your business is handled with whatever production that you're using. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't have to go into it thinking, okay, let me be this cookie cutter, you know, Will Smith example of an artist or something like that. But I think a lot of people, they don't put the time in to really learn about music. And I was that same person at one time, but I didn't even know what sync was to say I didn't want to do it. I'm like, shoot, I didn't even know I was making music for sync necessarily. I just knew I was working with a new producer who had some opportunities. And I think maybe if it were presented to people in that way, maybe it would translate a little differently rather than thinking like, oh, I'm about to make music for Pizza Hut or something. Because once you put that corporate thing on it, I think their brain goes somewhere
mind
else.
Goes to jingles. Like, and it's like, that's not exactly what's going on here. Yeah, I feel that.
Or, you know, because another thing that I embraced was, for me, I'm like, okay, I've done so much in terms of like being this underground artist. I've been to every open mic. I've been to every showcase. I've gone out of state. I've done all of this stuff. So I'm like, I need some validity to my name. So once I started getting like CBS, ABC, and all of this different stuff, I'm like, nah, that I could use that to my advantage. Because who else in this local scene is actually doing that?
Exactly.
And that's kind of how I changed my perspective.
I feel that 100%. Like, even with me, I used to always say like, when producers would have like the names of people who they worked with in their bio, like artist names,
Yep.
I used to be like, I want my name to be the name that's dropped. Like, I don't want to have to be like validated by another person's name. So what you're saying, like speaking to brands, like now I could say like, okay, my music is on CBS, or you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that's different. That's putting validation on my own name, like from what I've done, not from what somebody else.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying? So
sure.
I feel you on that validation. So as far as people learning more about sync, you do have a couple books out.
Yes.
Called the Pen Game Portfolio, volumes 1 and 2. Can you talk to them about that and where they could get it, why it's beneficial?
Absolutely. So both volumes are available on my website. First and foremost, you can go to realjnolan.com, and basically the books are like, because a lot of people come to me when they want to get into sync, and that's what they ask about. But honestly, it's a crash course on the music industry as a whole, because if you don't understand the music business, then you're really not setting yourself up for success.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to like create something that was going to come from somebody within the culture that you can kind of see like, okay, he's a real person, he's tangible, this is what he's done, this is what he's about. And let's see what the music business looks like from that perspective.
Right.
And that's the whole reason why I presented it that way. So you can get it from realjnolan.com, and you could also get it from Amazon if you want to go the more, brushed up corporate way. Because,
Yeah.
Some people like, is it on Amazon? Because everybody can self-publish nowadays, right?
Right.
So it's like, okay, you can go there, or you can go to realjnolan.com. Either way, it's going to be the same thing.
Absolutely. And tell people a little more about your accolades. I know we touched on the beginning, like with the UFC, but like since then, I know the list is long, so I wouldn't even ask you to list all the things that you've done, but just give them a little bit more of why they should get this book. It's not just from somebody who got one placement. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. So, NBA 2K22. I know everybody plays 2K. I have songs in, oh my goodness. Let's see, we got the HBO Max. We have ABC, ESPN, Disney, Kevin Hart, Zero F's Given on Netflix, All American, Little Fires Everywhere. Most recently, just got a placement in Power.
I'm gonna add the air horns when I edit.
Okay.
Yeah, talk about that one. No matter of fact, hold up, y'all. We got to take a music break real quick, and when we come back, we're going to talk about this placement and Raising Canaan. All right, y'all, keep it locked. Welcome back to the London Elixir Show. I'm your host, London Elixir, and I'm still in studio with J Nolan. And before we went to break, he had just told us about one of his recent placements on the show I'm sure y'all watch. It's called Raising Canaan. It comes on the Stars Network. So talk a little bit about this placement, because it's different from the typical sync placement, you know, like where sync is just getting your music on TV, but tell them about what you did for this one.
All right, so with this one, basically, and I mean, to be honest, I didn't even know it was gonna pan out this way. But I happened to be working with this company called Hard Drive, which was founded by a super successful songwriter by the name of Mickey Shiloh, and basically they needed like a 90s style of rap, and the reference was for MC Search. For people that don't know who MC Search is, he's from a group called Third Base, which was like a real white boys from the 90s type of thing. You know what I'm saying? So I had to kind of get into that mindset. And basically I wrote this song called Get Up, and it was submitted a year ago. This episode just came out within the last, like couple weeks.
Wow.
And I wrote this song, didn't know how it was gonna like manifest itself, and then just happened to be checking it out, and I see this guy on stage rapping my words.
Wait, so they didn't even tell you about the play? You didn't even know?
I had no.
You just watching the show? Because that's how it happened for the Kevin Hart one too, right?
Kevin Hart, yep, that's exactly how it happened.
Okay, so talk a little bit about that. Like, so you see it on the show, and then what?
See it on the show, and you talking about for Kevin Hart or for the
well, it could be both, but I was talking about for Raising Canaan.
So for Raising Canaan, the first thing I did was send an email.
I know that's right. Come on, business.
You know what I'm saying? So that is all of that stuff is actually in process now.
Yeah. Okay.
But but for the Kevin Hart thing, that was also one of those situations where I didn't get notified ahead of time. I just happened to be curious about the show, watched it, and it was in the beginning of when he's coming out on stage, like, and he's looking at all these legends in comedy as his inspiration, and I'm like, wow, my song is also the soundtrack of that and the story he's trying to tell there. So, you know, it's been a blessing to kind of like be able to be a part of a lot of this stuff.
That is a blessing. I actually saw that episode and really enjoyed that scene, not even knowing until I seen your post on Instagram that you wrote the lyrics that was being performed in that scene. So that's crazy. Like, I've had situations like that happen too, though, where I've submitted for something and I didn't hear anything back, and I happen to be watching the show and I'm like, that's my music.
Yep.
And then you got to send them emails out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, it happens way more than people would think.
Yeah. So keeping an eye out, that's actually a gem right there for anybody in the sync world. When you're submitting, you got to keep an eye out. If you have in mind what you're submitting for, go watch the show to like double check that you know what I'm saying? Because you'll be surprised. You might see it and then you could go get your money.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the things I really respect most about you is that you've never boxed yourself in. Like, you're a hip hop artist, a songwriter, a sync professional, a teacher, an author, and you've grown your platform by keeping it real and valuable for other creatives. Your YouTube show, Inside the Industry, is a perfect example of that. You're giving away real game and building community in the process. So I want to ask you, how do you manage being multifaceted while staying rooted in your core purpose? Like, how do you keep all these lanes aligned with your mission and not get pulled in a million different directions?
So I feel like that's an ongoing process, but I feel like the last 2 years have forced me to really like zone in on who it is that I want to be and try to like construct that out to the best of my ability, you know, between having a child and getting married and those things like really like are like, okay, guy, like you gotta really figure this out.
It's not just you anymore.
Exactly. And you can't be flying by the seat of your pants every day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me, YouTube was kind of like that avenue where I could kind of bring my expertise to the table, still display my music, still work on the stuff that I work on. But that allowed me to really build a community. Like I tried to build community on Instagram, all the different social media platforms, but YouTube, for whatever reason, it's like my voice starts to resonate and people have just been kind of like locking in with me. So I just doubled and tripled down. So now it's kind of like that is kind of the day job of it all for me. And then when other opportunities musically come along, I'll address them. I still work on my own like personal projects as far as like albums and things of that nature. But really releasing music in that format for me today is more so like therapeutic than like a super huge, like I need this project to make or break my life, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of the way that I've constructed everything, is like YouTube, sync, and then everything else.
So it takes the pressure off of the thing that you actually really enjoy the most, because it's not like the income source. And for a long time that was the other way around, you know what I'm saying? And then but then it's like, you know, these royalty checks, they nice, but they come around, you know, periodically. It's not like you're getting a weekly check or monthly, not even monthly. Quarterly. You know what I'm saying? You got quarterly checks, and different quarters might look different depending on what placements you had, you know?
Yep. And then you got to really think about, okay, they're paying me for like 2 quarters ago when the money actually comes.
Yeah.
So stuff like that too is like, okay, it's all retroactive. It's never current.
Exactly. Which is why I think as entrepreneurs who work in this space, we keep going.
Yep.
Because it's like, we know whatever money we're going to generate today is not coming until months down the line.
Yep.
Like the placement you just seen on Raising Canaan, the royalties aren't coming for that until 6 to 9 months later.
Yep, almost probably next year. Yeah,
maybe next year, exactly. So what led you to like the YouTube side of things? Like, because there are a lot of different things you could have chosen to do. Like, how did that idea spark in your mind?
Honestly, I got to give credit to my wife.
Come on, wife.
You know, because she was doing it first. She's got her own YouTube show and things of that nature, and I was just kind of like seeing how she was able to build that. And I tried my hand, and I didn't know how I wanted to approach it. I wanted to make sure that it was musical, but at the same time, like finding the balance between the education aspect and the entertainment aspect of YouTube. Because of course, if you're just educating people, there is a lane for that, but it's a longer road
Yeah.
Especially when there's just so many distractions available on
Absolutely.
YouTube.
That's a good point.
So I was like, okay, how can I talk about like what's currently going on in music, entertainment, hip hop from my perspective, but also have the entertainment aspect to it rather than just talking about a lot of nonsense? Or how can I make the nonsense a teachable moment type of thing?
That's good. So it's adding value instead of just a bunch of riffraff. Like, because there's a lot of noise out there and it's not adding value and people are just scrolling through it. But you found a way to make it purposeful and, you know,
and still
teachable.
fun and like comedic and the whole nine. Like
exactly. It's a balance.
Yep.
That's good. That's important. What tips would you give to anybody trying to start their own YouTube channels?
The first thing I would say is be authentic and like find what that looks like for you on camera. You know, because there's a level of authenticity that could be good for you, and then there's a level of authenticity that could be a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you got to find the balance with that to be like, all right, this is me, but this is me on 5-6 versus me on 10.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a good range to be. Anywhere between like a 5 to 7, you in good space, you know, because if you go to 10, you might get sued in these new streets.
Okay.
But
canceled too.
That too. And then if you're on the lower end of your authentic scale, you're probably not going to be all that entertaining because people are investing into your personality.
That's good. That's good advice. All right, so let's keep it real for a second because we are talking about social media.
Yep.
And with all your growth and success, naysayers also come along. It's not just people who are going to come and watch and support and have all the good vibes. Like people are going to come in and say crazy things. So even though you're posting valuable content and helping independent artists level up and you're staying consistent, folks are always going to find a way to say something crazy in these comments. So we call them the keyboard critics. When they come along, like as somebody who moves with integrity and represents faith in your work, how do you handle that negativity on social media? Like, does it ever get to you? Or like, have you developed the mindset that keeps you grounded? Like whenever the noise starts, you're just like, I'm gonna just tune that out. Do you respond to people? Do you pick and choose? How do, like, you know, how do you address that? Especially just being a man of faith.
I say it's a mixture of all of it. You know what I mean? Because on certain days, certain things people say, I ignore, I'll keep it moving. But I also have this thing where I do respond to people, and it can be a range of different responses depending on how, you know, their temperature is coming at me. But then there's also a certain level of, again, creating teachable moments, right? So for me on YouTube, you know, some people may discover me today and they have no knowledge of who I am, what I've done, where I've been. So there's been a couple of times on YouTube where I've literally seen people saying, who do you think you are? Who are you to be speaking on this type of stuff? And I'll just be like, okay, let's have a lesson today. And I give like a crash course on like who I am.
Yeah.
You know, and from one perspective, it's like, okay, you're responding to the critics. But on the second, it's like, no, this is actually who I am and what I've done. And maybe I haven't done a great enough job to convey that. So for the other people that are tuning in, they're now learning, oh, wow, these are the different layers. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people take it at face value when I like speak on things, and they'll kind of hear my music on the intros and stuff like that, which was also a thing that I had to, you know, come to grips with. Like, nah, I'm gonna play my music on the intro of my show. Like,
period.
Because some people will say, why do you play that music? And they'll like, if they don't like my opinion in the video, they're like, stop playing your whack music. And it's like, thank you. Okay. Appreciate it. You wanted some attention today.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but all of that for me is just like fuel of like, okay, like you said, there's always going to be naysayers. There's always going to be people that try to jump out the window. And for me, it's not about like trying to prove people wrong. It's really just about like, let me just show you. Like, because you clearly don't know, and it's not an intention of like being mean-spirited or anything like that. It's just like, okay, let me show you. And if after you've been shown the information and you still feel the same way, then it's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Now that's good, like to approach it with grace. Like, well, I understand like the energy off of this comment, but I'm gonna just get to the root of it, like the heart of it, and I'm gonna address that. Like that's basically the approach that you take. That's good. I did that one time when the Do the Juju thing dropped, And somebody on TikTok whose name was Juju, she was just like, I don't approve of this. Like, Juju didn't approve of this or something. Like, her name was Juju. And I just like messaged her like, hey, so this is the situation. This is the song. And then she became one of the biggest supporters of the movement.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think sometimes people just go on there and they take the humanity out of the content that's being posted. Like, you're a human at the end of the day, but they're just behind these screens typing whatever. They don't think about how that could affect you or like what's really going on. This is real life still happening. Like, you know, so I like that approach of like.
And you just pointed out like a really key thing is like sometimes people that will be these huge trolls in one moment, like once they're presented with more information, they end up being great supporters.
Absolutely. And with that, y'all, we're going to take another quick music break. And when we come back, we will have more with J Nolan. Keep it locked. Welcome back to the London Elixir Show. I am your host, London Elixir, and we still have J Nolan with us. All right, cousins, now it's time for one of my favorite parts of the show, a little something we call Switch the Seats. This is where the guest becomes the host, and I have no idea what's coming. So, J Nolan, the mic is officially yours. You can ask me anything.
Okay. So I think the biggest question that I have for you is like, I've seen you kind of go from producer, DJ, all of these different things. Like what has it been like in all of these different transitions? Same kind of like how you asked me earlier, like balancing, like how has that been? And what do you feel like today is your biggest priority out of all of the things that you have on your plate?
What a great question. The biggest priority. Okay, so balance. I really related to what you were saying earlier when I asked you a similar question about how, like, you know, what I'm focusing on what's making, like, it's like the day job now, but it's still not a day job because it's something you created. It's still like a business. So to me, that's what DJing has kind of become. It's the most direct form of income that I get out of all the things that I do. Like, it's not on the back end. They book up front. They pay me, I go do the gig. It's like straightforward. It's like the quick, like, it's just the most simple way to make money. Everything else I do is ambiguous. Like, you might pay to go to this sync conference, meet a music supervisor. You start getting placed with them 3 years later. You never know how it's gonna work. You know what I'm saying? So I like, right now, my highest priority, I hate to say it because I love producing so much, but just by the way I'm living my life, it is DJing. That's my highest priority. I try to promote myself with that, do gigs, DJing on TikTok live, like whatever way to like posting my content where I'm DJing. That's my highest priority right now because it's the most direct form of income. And then, what was the second part of the question? Just the highest priority? I think I answered
you just
it.
answered
it. Okay, yeah. That was it. That's it. Yep. All right, cool. Any other questions? Are we good?
What is your favorite placement out of all of the ones that you have?
Oh, I hate this question. They're all my favorites. If I had to choose one, dang, that's a tough question. I really like all of them. If I had to choose one, I think it would be the placement I got on The Penguin with a song that I did with Taylor Nixon called Bye. And the reason why is because that show was really fire. Like, I didn't even know. Like, I watched the show because my music was on it, but then I kept watching because it was really good. So, like, because of how great the show is, for one, but also because Taylor and I grew up together. So that was my first time getting a placement for somebody who I actually like knew as a kid. It just felt different. And then the placement happened to drop on her brother who passed away when we were younger on his birthday.
Oh, okay.
It was just like, it was so monumental. It just felt right. Like, so that's probably my favorite placement.
Okay.
Yeah, good question. But I love them all.
I get it.
Yeah. All right, y'all. So next, I want to introduce a new segment to the show. It's called God Winks. This is where we reflect on those little moments that don't feel so little. The ones where it's like, yeah, that had to be God working. So, Jay, let me ask you, what is a moment in your life, big or small, where you knew God was working behind the scenes? Like maybe it was something happened in perfect timing, a surprise opportunity, or something that just felt too aligned to be a coincidence.
Wow. I feel like there's a bunch of them that I can't even think of off the top of my head. I would have to say, honestly, this Raising Canaan thing, because I had recorded the music so long ago, I forgot about it. I wasn't thinking about it, and literally me and my wife were just like, you want to catch up on the Power Raising Canaan thing? And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? and just happened like 2 bars into the dude on stage. I'm like, that's me. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's been a while since I like really, I'll be honest, like lately I have not been super focused on like sync.
Yeah.
So it's not like I gave up on it, because I've still been getting placements from like stuff that I've already done.
Seeds that were already playing.
Yeah, but at the same time, it was kind of like, this is still here. This is still something like still an area that is there for me. You know what I'm saying? So it was just kind of like a quick reminder, because it's been so long since I actually had one of those moments where the music just popped out at me, where it was my stuff. Lately, I've been finding out through like, you know, the detections and stuff like that. So it's kind of like removed from it a bit.
Yeah.
But that was just like in my face, like, boom, here you go. I'm like, okay, yeah, we still here.
Yeah, that's what's up. Like, God's still working.
Yep.
Like, you planted that seed, you forgot about it
Yep.
because time had passed, but God was still working in the background.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. That's what's up. So before we let you go, we have to let the people know how they can support you and support themselves, really, because supporting you is supporting themselves. So let them know where they can find you and everything. Just let them know all those.
For sure.
Handles.
So, easiest way to support me would be to go on youtube.com/@RealJNolan. All right. And tune into the Inside the Industry show. That's how you're going to get to know me, and in getting to know me, you're probably going to want to support, you know what I'm saying? And that's where all the other vehicles come in. But that's like the big hub for now, is like over there on YouTube.
Spell it out for him.
Yeah, for sure. RealJNolan, Real J Nolan.
Cool. All right, Jay. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on the show today. And that is a wrap on this episode of the London Elixir Show. Woo, what a conversation, y'all. Huge thank you again to the homie J Nolan for pulling up, being transparent, and dropping so many gems for y'all. And of course, thank you, my cousin, for tuning in today. If anything we said spoke to you, hit us up and let us know. We got to know, y'all, what's hitting the hardest. Tag us on social media, DM us, or head over to LondonElixir.com/show to send us a message through the Cousins Corner. I'm always looking to hear from y'all. Remember, we are here every single Sunday at 5 p.m. EST, so set a reminder, tell your friends, and meet me right back here next week for more music, gems, and good vibes. And remember, if you're an artist with music to share, a brand that aligns with our message, or someone who just wants to support the show, we want to hear from you too. Visit the site and get plugged in. Again, our site is LondonElixir.com/show. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at London Elixir to stay connected between episodes. And for those of you tuning in late who caught the tail end, want to play this back, or tell your friends that they need to listen to this episode, make sure you guys catch the replay only on Fam Radio on Tuesday and Thursday this week at 4 p.m. EST. Until next time, remember, faith works when you do. Keep the faith, keep creating, and keep believing. See you next week on the London Elixir Show.